We have the newest LEGO model to be welcomed to the Brick Riding Railroad fleet, Boston and Maine, 3713. But before we get into the model, let's go over some of the history of the real Boston and Maine 3713. Boston and Maine 3713 was built in 1934 at the Lima Locomotive Works as a P-4a Pacific. It was nicknamed the Constitution in a New England-wide naming contest. The locomotive was originally streamlined over the sand and steam domes and with smoke deflectors along the smoke box, as you can see in this altered version of the LEGO model. In service, 3713 found itself on premier passenger trains on the Boston and Maine system, and after years of service, 3713 made its last run in 1958. After spending years on static display, Boston and Maine 3713 began a rebuild at Steamtown National Historic Site, where it remains to this day. So to start, we'll go over the specifics of the model. It is 22 inches by 3 inches by 4 inches and is a 1:48 scale 8 stud wide LEGO model. It uses almost entirely official LEGO parts minus the lights, stickers, and a hole drilled into the front dish for the light. Every other part is a official LEGO piece. The total piece count on Boston and Maine 3713 is 1,200 pieces, not including the track that it currently sits on. And now we'll go into different parts of the locomotive and see all the prototypical details. This LEGO model of 3713 in the front features a working headlight, rivet detail using the LEGO studs on the boiler cap, a flower piece for the bell, pipe detailing on the inside and along the staffs, and an old style LEGO piece for the coupler and some plow detailing. This is far more detailed than the 6 stud wide models that I have done previously. However, this is not the first 8 stud wide model that I have created. Previously, I've done a 8 stud wide model of Reading 1251. Video will be linked in the top corner. Now let's go over the top of this locomotive. The top of the locomotive features a wheel as the smokestack and a hose as the whistle. We have the sand and steam domes represented on the top of the model, along with the slope of the boiler and a nice smooth top to the cab. You also can see another view of the piping going along the sides of the locomotive. But we will get into those when we go over each side. On the left side of the locomotive, you can see the very nicely detailed piston along with the driving rods and cylinders. The driving rods here are one of the areas that is still going to be a work in progress, as there still is potential to add more static rod detailing. I don't know if I can add any more official LEGO pieces for a more functional driving rod and still have it run. There'll be some more updates to Boston and Maine 3713 after this final update for the overview. But this is the current rod setup. Show it functioning at the end of the video, so stay till the end. See, we have some pipe detailing underneath cylinders. You can see up top here the step ladder, or the step railing continues the length of the locomotive. And then one of the most detailed parts of the locomotive is the firebox here. The firebox contains a wide array of bars, pipes and clips, along with the wedge plate and a 2x6 that holds the whole arrangement together. Which, as you can see, this is a highly detailed part of the model. This is one of the more fun areas to work on, since there's just so much detail involved on the firebox, since unlike the Reading locomotives that use the Wooten firebox, and those are mostly smooth sides, Boston Maine 3713 has a lot more details that you can add to the firebox. And let me go to another feature of 3713, which is the sloped cab here. This is prototypical to the actual locomotive, where instead of being a usual locomotive where the cab is a square shape on the side, you have a slope in front. Then there's some more detailing underneath and a cab handrail. The right side of the locomotive sees a much wider array of details than the left side in terms of the piping. You have the main pipe along the side. There's just several along the side of the locomotive that I was able to capture in the model. There's actually more that I was unable to capture in the model, that there just wasn't enough space using Lego parts for. And since I am not an expert in steam locomotives, I won't be able to tell you what any of the pipes are used for. We'll just take a look at them going along the side. We have one incorrect color piece, since I had to use the dark gray piece for the smokestack. Here we are going along the side of the locomotive. It's a lot of the same underside details as the left side. You can see there's a whole bunch more pipe details and some missing underside details, but that's how the actual model is. Now we'll go on to the tender. The tender is smaller than the locomotive and is substantially less detailed, since you can't add rivets to the sides of the tender, so I tried to capture the effect by using bricks, 1x2 by 3 bricks, along the side of the tender to capture somewhat of the riveted effect. Some custom built trucks, the step ladder to the cab, have some curved slopes to capture the shape of the tender, and we'll come under to the underside of the detail, where you can see a slope and a bar piece used to show some of the details on the underside of the tender. You can see some more of that on the other side, but we'll go to the back of the tender next. While at Steamtown with my Lego exhibit, I was able to see Boston Maine 3713 along with the tender. So here we have the prototypical details of the tender. You have the light on the top of the tender. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be centered or off to the side. It was extremely hard to tell with being on the ground and the tender being much higher than an individual. You have the step here with the step ladder, along with some various details on the back of the tender. Now let's go to the side of the locomotive. So you have some more underside details using some interesting part usages, as you can see. And we come to the top of the tender. You have your coal load, your water tank spot, and there's another angle of the ladder along with the light. Some more of the truck details, and now let's see Boston and Maine 3713 in action for the first time. As you can see, the driving rods of Boston and Maine 3713 capture the essence of a steam locomotive. They're not perfectly modeled after the driving rods, and trying to use official LEGO Technic parts to get the full motion on 1 in 48 scale is extremely difficult, and I've yet to completely figure out the driving rods. But currently it is definitely a satisfactory design, considering the drive is made out of 100% official LEGO. One limitation that I have in this design is the fact that the front wheel is not connected to the drivetrain, which prevents me from connecting it to the driving rod, since that has been a point of jamming in the drivetrain and has been the failing point of the system, so I decided to remove it from the drive. Has been a very effective drivetrain on the test track. I've yet to have it fail as we take a look at the other side of the drive. As you can see, it's fully functioning on both sides. It has not been tested on a LEGO train layout yet, as I only have this small piece of track at school. I hope to, over the summer, get this tested on the R104 stud radius curves and see if it's able to function correctly. But here's your overview of Boston and Maine 3713. Stay tuned for some more updates on Boston and Maine 3713 and the rest of the Brick Roading Railroad fleet. We have some more current content in the future coming, so stay tuned, subscribe and like the video to ensure that we get more LEGO content and to see more engines like Boston and Maine 3713.